Hey guys, welcome back to today's episode. So for the viewers who've been watching this channel, but I feel like you've forgotten to hit that subscribe button, go ahead and hit it right now. So today's episode, I'm going to be working on the trailing arms, getting those ready for paint. They're kind of the last piece of the puzzle before I go ahead and start installing the rear suspension on the Civic, so I need to get that done. So I'm just going to tear it apart here on the driveway and start cleaning things up. And secondly, I kind of want to go over this vehicle of how much money I've so far put into it to date. So I'm going to go from all the new and used parts that I've gotten, everything from the engine to honestly the miscellaneous stuff that's needed to repair the car. So we're going to do that as well, so stay tuned. So I went ahead and I just tore apart the trailing arms to a point where I'm pretty okay with going ahead to clean them and prep them for paint and paint them. Some of the stuff I may replace, probably the rotors I will replace. Other than that, brake pads, the guy actually replaced them before I got this, so those look good. Camber arms as well, they look fairly good. The bushings on them are looking pretty healthy, so I'm not going to have to replace those, thankfully. But everything came off fairly well. A little bit of a struggle when I was working on trying to get the actual calipers off of the rotor. They were kind of seized on there from the rust buildup on the pads, but those swept off when I used some of the PB blaster to throw them off. Like I mentioned, the bushings on these are good. Bushings on the trailing arm are good. There is a lot of scaled rust on the trailing arm that I'm gonna have to make sure that I don't damage anything on the spindle. Other than that, I look forward to seeing these guys cleaned up nicely. The shields, I kind of just want to throw them in some type of rust dissolving solution. I might just throw them in a vinegar solution and see how it does after like 24-48 hours. Other than that, pretty happy with how everything came off. It was fairly quick. Got to clean up the bolts. FedEx is here. I might have to replace these caps because I kind of did damage the cap when I was trying to get them off, but these aren't too hard to find. Alright, so for the second half of this video, I kind of wanted to go over how much I've been putting into this car up to date of all the parts, new and used, that I've gotten. So I have everything written down. I already have a spreadsheet on my computer, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to toss up the prices as we go through this video on this section here, and we'll just go over all of the spending that I've done so far on it. So I got the Civic. I got the Civic for $300, and I got it from a guy up in Barrie. He was originally going to throw it in the demolition derby, but I decided I was going to take it off him. He had an ad on Kijiji, and I just took it off of him. So $300 for the car. Delivery, I ended up paying $200 for delivery because some guy, this car actually wasn't running, so I didn't have a way of transporting it home, so I ended up just getting it delivered to my house for $200. It had to travel all the way from Barrie, so it was cheaper than a tow truck, and they don't have those dollies that I could have taken them on like the back of my SUV here in Ontario, but I couldn't find one at least, so that was my only route. So technically it was $500 for the car. I had to go and get the car registered in my name, so the transfer fee and the taxes came out to $56. So $556 in total for the car. Then my next decision was going to be, what motor was I going to go with? I got myself an H22, and I got it from a place up in Toronto, and it was like $2,100 plus tax. I think it was like $24.86 in total for the engine. It has 40,000 kilometers on it. Great compression, everything's pretty good with it, so I'm happy that I went with this motor. I know it's a little pricey, but here in Ontario, it's hard to find, in my opinion, it's hard to find a good price on a motor. After that, I had to go get myself a shifter box for the car, for the H22, so I ended up just picking up a shifter box at a local junkyard, and I paid 20 bucks for this. And I've seen these things on like websites for like almost $100, and it's insane to think that someone would pay $100 for that when you can go and pick it yourself. These are lying around. I'm pretty sure you can even get one from an Accord that'll work on an H22, but there's mine right there. After that, I had to decide what mounts I was gonna get, if I was gonna get those new or used. So I actually got them new, and I got them with some insane shaft axles. There was kind of a, I found a deal online from another company up in the States, and I converted the dollar value, and they had it so cheap compared to a place up in here in Toronto. So I actually contacted the place in Toronto, and I got them to price match what the US was selling them for. So this ended up costing me, it's still pretty expensive, but tax in, it was $945 and like 86 cents, 85 cents. I'm happy to go in the new route with these guys. These are innovative mounts, and I think they have a bushing rating of 75, so it'll be a fairly comfortable ride on the street. And these are also insane shaft axles, rated up to 500 horse, because I do plan on getting this car pushing more power, so that'll be needed in the future anyways. So next, after that, I went to the junkyard with my brother, and we picked doors. I decided to go with used doors from a junkyard, and I got the doors and the hatch and a bunch of little miscellaneous parts for the interior of the car, cosmetic stuff like that. I paid like $180 cash for that, so it's a little high, but they're in fairly good condition. So after that, next thing was I needed to get suspension and conversions done with my braking. So I ended up picking up front knuckles from a guy up in Cambridge. I happened to be in the junkyard area over there, and he actually met me there, and I paid like 115 bucks for these, left and rights, and they were in great condition. Actually, I can even use the rotors. They're over there. Calipers are beautiful, brand new brake pads. So I was happy with that price. I had to get outer tie rods. I think it's almost $40 for the left and the right. Those were shot, the bushings were done. Upper control arms, the bushings on my old ones were done, so I decided just to get brand new ones here. Well, actually they're not brand new, but they're from a car that was written off, but they were pretty much brand new, so this was a find and a half. I paid 40 bucks for the left and the right. And then I got suspension from a guy also locally. And this is all from like either the Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, if it's Tane or Tien, but I got the street basis suspension, and I paid 300 bucks. Next was the rear brake conversion. You already saw that earlier on in the video when I was tearing that down. I paid 100 bucks cash for that. All right, and the next thing is my quarter panels here. The panels that I just did replacement videos on. Those guys ended up costing me 110 bucks shipped. And yeah, this one got its full value because I almost used the entire thing. On this side, I had only kind of 2 sections that I utilized. So one other miscellaneous cost that I've been adding to this vehicle is the POR paint. The POR paint is fairly expensive. I've painted the engine bay already, and I coated that. I also ended up coating the rear below, underneath on the frame on the car. So I've almost gone through 2 cans of that. So that ended up costing, and I also needed to get like the metal prep that came with it. So That stuff has cost me about $140. Working on the rear suspension, I had to also get my toe compensator arms. These ones were actually fairly pricey, which kind of sucked, but I paid 70 bucks for these guys because the old ones that I had were just completely rusted. The bushings were gone, and I had to cut through it to get them off on the old car. Well, on the old suspension. Lastly, I ended up getting a OEM lower control arm for the rears. I paid $75 for those, and I just got those delivered. I've been getting those last two parts on Rock Auto, and I've been pretty happy with the service from them. Great shipping, great pricing. It's actually cheaper in the States than buying it from here in Canada, which is ridiculous. So I think that may wrap up the costing for some of the things here. I've gone through that. If I miss anything, I will post it right now in the video, letting you know what I've been spending on the car. Other than that, I think I am done for the day. What's up, buddy? So I think that'll wrap up today's video, guys. So thank you for watching. I hope it kind of gives you an idea of what you could be spending on some of this stuff if you did require those types of repairs or replacements. Hopefully you can even use them if they are a good price as a bargaining advantage for you. Please do hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.